All right, I'm going to be talking to Tyler about his discoveries, his opinion that the impeachment inquiry has actually found something on Biden. They've got evidence. We got him, boys. So maybe this idea that, oh yeah, the impeachment inquiry has found nothing, it's just a left-wing talking point. We shall see. Normally, I probably wouldn't put too much stock into what somebody says on this, on the right. But this guy I'm going to be talking to today usually does actually do some semblance of research. He has come up with like opinions based around the same, he'll have the same information I do, but still have different opinion. Oh, that's so cool. Like come to a different conclusion, which I find very interesting. Like, for example, when we were talking about Dr. Fauci and whether or not he lied about masks, he agreed with every statement of facts that I made, but he just came to a different conclusion than I did. So we shall see what comes of this discussion. It's going to mostly be him on a soapbox. I'm not really looking to debate because I don't know what he thinks he has. Apparently he's got a video out now I should have looked at, but this was kind of this was just like, it was talked about in the past, but it was just like officially planned today. We shall see. Shall see. Gonna be a good time. All right, I messaged them and tell them to call whenever, but we said it. We said 7:30, so. He's also supposed to be sending me a transcript to his video. I don't even know what his channel is, so I was gonna look it up, but maybe if I don't know. I'm also gonna talk to him about I'm gonna try to talk to him about this barbed wire on the border situation. It's driving me a bit crazy that people will support the barbed wire on the border, but then razor wire. Thank you, Fork. Razor wire on the border, but not realize that like they're essentially supporting. I seem to recall we might have some time talked about that. We did. All right, cool. I'm going to talk to Forg about the razor wire situation. That's going to be fun.
Hey, dude.
Hey, hey. How are you?
What?
What's up? Can you hear me? Oh, fuck. I don't have anything set up on Discord. Shit.
Hello.
Give me a minute. Just give me a minute. Hit Razer audio. There it is. All right, what's up? I was muted physically on my headphones.
Hey, man.
Hey, man. What's up? How are you doing?
Not much. I'm doing good. How about you?
I'm doing well. All right, here's the thing that's driving me crazy about this razor wire situation. All right, so it's the fact that if you support razor wire on the border, you support hurting or potentially killing, because that's what the razor wire does, migrants who would try to cross the border. And people are refusing to admit that that's what's being supported.
Do you want me to say my side?
Yeah. What are you here for?
Okay, well, and of course, that's the whole point of wire. You're not wrong, is to cause potential harm. It's not supposed to be death. It's not really like a deadly weapon type thing, but people can die to it. You brought up last night that immigrants have died from it. I haven't looked into that personally. That'd be interesting to see. It's more of just like a deterrence. It hurts a lot. It hurts like a bitch. So you usually don't really want to go through it. It's the same thing that I talked about last night, right? With the military, is you are going to be hurting people no matter what, or you're going to be hurting people, and that isn't necessarily a reason to not have it there. It could be a negative, sure. I mean, if you're hurting people and people are dying, that's of course going to be a negative. We are having a little small talk about what if we think, people dying is a good thing or a bad thing in certain situations. I think it's always awful. You say in some situations it's justifiable and a good thing. I think it's always bad, but that doesn't mean there's not a reason for it.
Okay, I mean, it's a good thing when somebody who is about to hurt somebody else dies before they hurt the person. Because you have the choice of two worlds. One where he doesn't die and he gets to hurt the other person, or two where he does die and the other person, the innocent, gets to not get hurt. And so, like, I don't know. I would think that, like, self-defense people, like pro self-defense people, would agree with that.
Do you know what lawful but awful is?
I mean, I can, guess by context.
All right, well,
yeah, it's awful that we would be in a situation where somebody has to die in order for somebody else to not get hurt. That is awful. And I understand where you got from my rhetoric that I think that you like seeing immigrants being hurt. But what the argument is that you are at the very least okay with our deterrence methods hurting immigrants who would try to come into this country in between points of entry, to a point where it could be lethal. Like, you are at least okay with that.
I think the phrasing is not that good, because you said, maybe you can correct me on this, but you said, I am okay with immigrants being hurt who are trying to cross the border, right? That's what you said.
Yeah.
It's not necessarily that. I mean, immigrants, or we're talking about illegal immigrants first off. It's illegal immigrants who are purposefully putting themselves in the barbed wire to get across the border. I think you shouldn't try to value your own life over simply getting in legally. And if you do, then I think there is something severely wrong with that.
There are thousands of migrants crossing that border that have made the already dangerous trip every day. I don't think that there's anything wrong with these thousands of people outside of just general despitude.
So it's not that there is something wrong with them, or well, I there's something wrong with you if you would rather kill yourself or maim the hell out of yourself if you would rather go into a country legally. I think that's kind of insane. But in terms of people coming in illegally without the barbed wire, without getting hurt, I can understand that for sure. I'm like 90% sure my family consists of illegal immigrants. 100% consists of legal immigrants. So I can definitely understand the reasoning behind that. I the thing is, they're putting themselves in that situation, and it's kind of, to me, it seems like the left, or at least your side of the aisle, I guess, is trying almost to make it out like we're almost pushing them into the barbed wire. That's what it sounds like, is that you are hurting these people by putting it there. Well, not
Oh,
necessarily. They're hurting themselves.
so you're not going to support this, but I want to read you something that I found
Yeah, sure,
today.
go for it.
Um, um,
Yeah, just so you know, I'm not going to be on my best game today. I'm
well,
tired as hell.
so am
But
I. That's why today was a good day for the here for the glutes. What glutes?
good, good.
But aren't glutes my butt's not showing.
I don't really
Um,
want to see your butt. It's okay.
sources. Okay. I found this today. And you telling me we're not pushing them into the wire reminded me of this. Um, so here's an anecdote. And turn themselves in. 15-year-old boy broke his leg. On June 30th, Texas National Guardsmen, acting on orders, pressed back a 4-year-old girl who attempted to cross the wire. The girl soon passed out in the 100-plus degree heat and needed medical attention.
Could you send the article to me just so I can read it?
Yeah, that is in. I'm gonna put it in the chat.
Yeah, sure,
Chat
go for it.
for the voice chat.
All right, let's see this. And I think there is something wrong on the right, which is something you pointed out, you and Sansel pointed out a while ago, where we seem to treat illegal immigrants specifically almost like less than human, which I think is completely evil.
Mm-hmm.
I
I
think
mean,
that's something kind of my side needs to
that's
fix.
that's why when I talk about migrants, I don't distinguish between illegal immigrants and legal migrants. It's whether or not they're legal or illegal does not change the calculation for me whether or not these types of measures are just.
It would to me,
Yet.
honestly. I don't consider them. I consider them different. I don't consider one not a human and the other a human, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's they're different in some regards. So illegal immigrants, we can have a much more relaxed kind of form of security with them just because we can keep track of them, right? Whereas illegal immigrants who are undocumented in our country, we have no idea where they are, who they are,
Well,
right?
you know that most of the people that are crossing in between the ports of entry are people that cross and then turn themselves in to Border Patrol to be processed, right? They
Yeah,
aren't
I've
they
heard
aren't
of that for
people.
sure.
Yeah, they aren't necessarily people that are going to try and sneak into the country and stay in the country under the radar.
Well, the thing about most is, I don't know what you mean by most. So if they're like how, hold on, let me find one statistic and I'll come back to this real quick.
Yeah, if you have statistics, that's going to be more than I have because I've tried to look this up and I can't find statistics on it.
All right, let's see. December 2023 said you okay. I'm trying to figure out how many illegal immigrants come in through here. Oh, okay. According to U.S. Customs and Border Control. All right. Well, I've heard numbers of a million, a few million, of how many illegal immigrants have entered within the past few years. And that might
Yep.
just be migrants. It could be
So
100,000 illegal immigrants. I'm not sure. But if you mean most, even
yeah,
if that's 90%,
real
that's
real quick,
30,000 people who are
crossing
undocumented.
crossing between the ports of entry, you're automatically considered an illegal immigrant, regardless of if you turn yourself in or not. You're automatically considered a legal immigrant. You can add those numbers to that statistic
That's interesting.
because it's technically illegal to cross between the ports of entry.
hmm
But I looked up why migrants are choosing to do this. One is because our system is so backed up that they're finding themselves having to stay in inhospitable conditions on the other side of the border for months, and they get impatient with that, and then they'll take their chances trying to cross and finding border patrol so that they can be held in America instead of having to be held in the inhospitable conditions on the other side. And the other one is because they are being lied to by coyotes who have a lot to gain from massive amounts of people thinking that the coyotes are the only way that they can get into the country, get to the country and into the country.
Yep. Should I say something?
Yeah.
Well, what do you want me to say? I mean, if that's true, that's true. I think it's sad that that has to happen. I don't necessarily think it does. It's more of a band-aid fix than anything. But
What, the barbed wire?
no, not the barbed wire. The
Uh,
barbed wire is a band-aid fix, actually. But so is, just having illegal immigrants turn themselves into border patrol. Both are a band-aid fix.
yeah. What is your ultimate, like, what does a solution look like to you?
The solution to illegal immigration. Well, I'd like to reform our our kind of application system to getting a green card or hold on. I'd like to reform the way that people can become legal in this country because right now it's pretty effed up and it doesn't make a whole lot of sense.
Mm-hmm.
I don't necessarily know how we would do it. I haven't really looked into much about the whole wall thing that Republicans are pushing. I don't know if that would really stop the flow of illegal immigration, but ideally it would be stop illegal immigration and make it easier for people who deserve legal immigration to get into the country.
Okay. Um, so the wall is at least not cruel. It's not looking to hurt migrants who try to come in, but it doesn't do anything. We have places on the border with a wall, and they just cut right through it. And not only do they
Yeah,
cut through it. Hey, hold on a second. I'm gonna go check on my roommate. I just heard a loud noise.
I'll go for it.
You all right?
I opened this door
Oh.
into that door, and I was like, Jesus Christ.
Oh my goodness. He just opened a door really loudly.
Oh gosh.
All right. Yeah, it's at least not cruel, but the places where we do have a wall, they just cut through it. Not only do they cut through it, and they'll put the piece back where it was in a way that makes it hard for Border Patrol to see that it's been cut through. So that you can just come back and remove the piece again to let more people in.
Yeah, I don't really know much about the wall, so I can't really say much about that, but that's interesting. They cut through are you talking about the giant concrete wall that we have on the border or a different one?
Did you watch the
On some spots of the
Channel
border?
5 migrant video?
Yes, the one I sent, yeah.
Oh, you sent the Channel 5 one?
Or wait, maybe not the channel. I don't know what news station it was, but I did
It's
send.
It's not a news station. It's Channel 5's a YouTube channel. It used to be called All Gas No Brakes.
Oh, no, probably not.
Well, he talked to some people on the border, and they were talking about that.
Yeah, I really wouldn't know, honestly. It's a hard. I haven't really thought about it. Why? What would you propose?
First of all, you gotta open up a path for economic migrants, because even though like they don't count for they're not eligible for refugee status. That is the mass majority of those people that are coming through, and those people are desperate enough economically to, again, I'm going to always come back to this, they are desperate enough to make that trip. So nothing short of just like shooting them at the border is going to stop them from making that trip. That trip is already dangerous. It's already grueling. It's already expensive, and they give everything they have to make that trip. So nothing short of, like I said, the threat of their death is going to not even just like from barbed wire, because people are going will think that, oh, well, I can make it through some barbed wire with some wire cutters. I'm talking like border patrol with guns all across the border is going to stop them. Landmines like Egypt has.
Do you propose putting landmines around the border?
I don't. I actually propose making a path for economic migrants, so that and hiring more border patrol to be able to do background checks faster, hire more asylum judges so that we can do their asylum trials faster. If we allow economic migrants into create a system for economic migrants, then we can actually probably not even hire more asylum judges, because you're going to have less people claiming asylum and more people just applying for economic migration.
What would you do to stop the flow, or not? Maybe not the flow if you create a better pathway for economic migration, but what would you do to stop illegal immigration that would probably still be there?
You would catch them and deport them immediately, because they have no excuse to not be coming in legally if that pathway is open.
Okay, so you would just have more border patrol?
Yeah, I'm down for more border patrol, especially if we have a pathway for people to become citizens.
Do you think we could genuinely cover the entire border?
No, but I think we can cover enough to where it wouldn't be a dangerous situation.
Be right back. Sorry, what was that?
I think we can cover enough to where we don't have a bunch of dangerous people sneaking in. And with the migrants that actually want to immigrate here legally, they be going to the legal channels because they now exist. You're going to have less people the border patrol in between the ports of entry has to deal with.
I just don't think you would have enough, enough people to cover that border, or even to make it safe. I think it's almost impossible. We're sending thousands to Texas's border alone.
Well, I mean, if we don't have enough people, then we can like hire the new people that are coming in to cover the spots that Americans aren't willing to cover.
What was that? I have to go like super soon.
Okay. But I mean, if we don't have enough people that are willing to work border patrol, then we can hire the newly Americanized American citizens that came from south of the border to, fill those spots.
That'd be interesting. This is completely just a random guess, but I feel like that could lead to some corruption with them trying to smuggle over family members.
You wouldn't have to smuggle over family members, because their family members would be allowed to come in legally.
And if you're making it that open, then if you're making it open enough to where almost anybody could get
Anybody
in just under the
without
premise that they want to come for a job.
Yeah,
then
anybody without a
that would
criminal
be
record.
millions of people. That would be, that'd be so many people.
We're already getting millions of people into the country.
I don't think that's a good thing.
Okay, I mean, I guess we'll see. It's straining some of the bigger cities that were already having trouble like housing their own people, but there's plenty of space in America. Like if we put the new people in places that need them instead of places that are already overpopulated, it can work.
I just don't really think our immigration policy should be based on how many people we can fit into America at once.
Well, I mean, we could fit the whole world in America if that was the policy.
Yeah, and then
It's
it would be a complete third world hellhole, but
yeah,
yeah.
it's based off of who doesn't have a criminal background and who wants to work and who wants to and who can make it to the country, which is going to leave out millions of people that want to come here but can't.
I think another big part of it is having the stereotypical like American dream where you want to work hard on it. You want to not necessarily a conservative set of values, but an American set of values where you want to work, you want to provide for people, you want to be involved in communities. I think that's going to take up a lot of resources to do, though, and I don't think it'll be possible to take in as many immigrants are coming to the border as there are now.
Maybe
Anyways,
not all at once, but
but over time.
yeah, over time we have the infrastructure and resources to be able to take in a lot more people, and for them to be able to be productive.
Right. Well, I'll try and talk with you later, but I
All
have to
right.
do a bunch of crap around the house. Nice talking with you, man.
Yeah, you too. Later.
See you, dude.
Let's see. Just finishing up this game. Okay. $27. Make sure he's not. Here for the glutes. Do 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 do. Do 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 do. I do not think that I'm gonna have enough levels to fix my pickaxe completely. Uh, uh. Now, why does that cost less? That's some bullshit. I guess I can only be but so mad at it. Oh, do 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 do. Hopefully, I finish this. Hopefully, I finish this ceiling before I run out of pickaxe. I might be able to do it. We shall see. We shall see. We shall see. Then I gotta find a way to clear all this frickin' water. Literally in an underwater cave. What is that shit? Who decided to put underwater caves inside of Minecraft? We're gonna do a cave update and we're gonna make it pain in the ass to dig out any large area underground. All right, almost done. You know what? Uh, well, I was gonna try to hop on this disagreement channel while I waited, but he's in a panel. Oh, well, he's ready anyways. So let's get out of here. All right, let's see. How the fuck do I call somebody? Oh, I gotta hang up, I suppose. Buy more. What do I? Oh. Let's see. Inquiry video sponsored by my mom. She tells me how handsome and capable I am when she's lying about my clothes. That's pretty cute. That's cute. Can I make this? Yeah, there we go. Oh, that's not what I
got
want.
two, and I don't expect you to even get close to reading all these.
Well, if you send me a link to the video, I can watch the video. I didn't even know you had a. Well, I guess I did know you have a channel, but I didn't
It's
put two and two
between
together.
these two dots. It's about 5 hours of video.
What the fuck?
Yeah, I make long form.
That's like, wow. Okay.
So I figured it'd be easier. Just it's like all these are basically. I made bullet points for both the IRS whistleblower hearing and the impeachment inquiry.
Okay.
And I try to be pretty fair about it. So
Okay. All right. So what you got? What do you? Oh,
I can't remember exactly what your question was, so I was going to ask again. You wanted me to try to sell you on how there is at least a there to continue the investigation into
well,
Hunter and Joe.
I mean, sure. I don't think I've ever said that the investigation is to stop. My claim is they just haven't found anything substantial yet. It's all like circumstantial stuff that like probably has other, at least from what I've seen, has other explanations that are either at the very least probable or at most completely proven by other evidence that the talking heads on the right are leaving out of this conversation.
All right. So there's a lot of. I'm going to try to jump. Let's do first in the IRS whistleblower. No, I want the other one. Because the impeachment inquiry goes over almost everything in the IRS whistleblower, but not all 100. So.
All right, I want to pull out a highlighter so that I can highlight what we talk about.
I don't want MGT. Marjorie Taylor Greene did an okay thing with the Mann Act, but I'm looking for. It was another lady. She did something with Serbia. I thought. I guess it was. I guess it was just MGT. Large Marge. There was something. Okay. I wanted the notes for it. There was something with like some guy was trying to become something, and he talked to Hunter Biden. Hunter Biden talked to Joe Biden. Joe Biden met with the guy privately like 2 weeks before he met with the prime minister of that country. I think it's Kazakhstan, actually.
Kazakhstan. This is where we're going to end the first video. I'm thinking 4 parts now since I'm only 8 pages into my script and it's already back up to 29 pages with this final edit. Thank you for watching. This is just your outro to one of the videos, so you get into Kazakhstan the other ways.
Yeah, I got 6. If you type KAZ and you got 6 different.
Yeah. He pivots. Okay. You want to read it?
Number 3. Some dude arrested Mr. Fallon now. Joe Biden lied. So some dude arrested for corruption in Kazakhstan gave Hunter the exact amount of money Hunter needed to buy a Porsche that he bought the very next day, and shortly after had dinner with Joe Biden. That very same man was trying to get, what was it? 100K. This is number 4 or 6. 100K went to the Porsche, donated to get approved for an oil deal with China that involved one of Hunter Biden's company. And that's why the Kazakhstan guy gave Hunter Biden the 160 grand for the Porsche, I guess.
So, Mr. Timmons is up. Who's Mr. Timmons? What's he got to do with this?
These are all the people in the House during the hearing.
This is the one of the representatives.
Yeah. I can't remember what state he's from, but he's one of the House members on the board.
He's just doing a massive recap of what we already talked about and saying we need more information that we gain access to today by dint of this inquiry being open. He said that the mayor of Moscow's wife who gave Hunter $3.5 million was left off the list of sanctioned visas and frozen accounts when Russia invaded Crimea, and Obama imposed sanctions. The 100K plus that went to Hunter for his Porsche saw the peoples donating from Kazakhstan get approved for an oil deal with China that involved one of Hunter's companies. Okay, so the claim here seems to be that it is possible that this mayor of Moscow's wife was left off the sanctioned visas and frozen accounts when Russia invaded Crimea because of some quid pro quo with Joe. I can't hear you if you're trying to talk to me.
I'm sorry. I'm gonna turn on open mic. Let me know if it's a problem. I'll turn it off.
Okay.
Because usually when calls are on, I have an open mic. Penis.
I can hear the penis.
I'm gonna 350 Russian. Yeah, the Russian oligarch is another woman. She got a $350 million or $3.5 million went to Hunter Biden, and then she had a meeting with Joe Biden at a restaurant. It says it in here somewhere. There's so many fucking notes.
Is this still the one that the Mr. Timmons is up paragraph, or is this something else?
No, I'm searching the whole thing.
Oh, okay.
I'm looking for the name of the restaurant that they ate in as well. It's something it's a restaurant they use over and over too. But yeah, no, speaking specifically of Kazakhstan, I know that somebody wanted to get in a certain office, and this same guy gave Rudy Giuliani money, just to be transparent. It's not like he was just giving it to Hunter Biden. So this guy gave Hunter Biden money. Hunter Biden met with Joe Biden. A private meeting between this man and Joe Biden happens. Then Joe Biden meets with the prime minister and lobbies for this guy to get into this office. It was something with the UN as well, this UN office. I'm fucking unprepared for this because I thought these notes were going to be easier to go through. It's number 6 of Kazakhstan. I think I read that. Probably.
Is it Porsche Archer?
Mr. Edwards.
Edwards, okay.
Yeah, it's if you search Kaz, it's 5 and 6. Yeah, no, he got a meeting at Joe Biden's home. The UN Secretary General was the position that this man wanted.
Oh, okay.
And that's the guy that gave Hunter the money for the Porsche.
So Mr. Edwards wanted this, or is he the representative?
Mr. Edwards is the representative. They didn't say this guy's name in the hearing.
Oh, okay.
The oligarch. He gave Hunter Biden money for the Porsche. And then after that, he met privately at Joe Biden in his home. Joe Biden meets with the prime minister and tries to discuss who's going to be the next person in this security general's office. Turns out at the end of the day, the guy didn't actually get the job. But the meeting being facilitated was what Hunter Biden got paid for.
So, yeah, so unnamed oligarch.
Yeah, I could try to get you some more details right now. A citation.
Is Biden for Porsche and gets meeting with Joe to lobby for himself.
Do you like the Daily Mail or no?
I don't. So I don't ever. When you send a source, I don't ever say, "Oh, that's the Daily Mail." I'm not going to take that. What I'm going to do is I'm going to look through the statements of facts that the source makes and see if there's anything that contradicts it.
Okay.
So you can send whatever publication you want.
All right. I just want about this specific story. Joe dined with oligarchs who paid Hunter. This is everything. I just want to isolate that specific amount of money. And this talks about the whole 20 million.
And this was in Kazakhstan government that he was trying to.
He was trying to get a job as the UN Secretary General.
Oh,
I'm trying to see if his name is in here. It always says just Kazakh oligarch. It doesn't ever say his name.
okay, that's fine.
I don't know. Even in this article, I don't know why. Like, is it sealed or something?
It's possible.
Huh. Yeah, it's interesting.
All right, so you got a source? Did you post it?
Yeah, it's like a Daily Mail summary source, but it talks about this specific story. 142,000 wired from Kazakhstan oligarch to one of Hunter Biden's shell companies. Later, he buys a Porsche for that exact amount of money. The next day, this guy gets a dinner meeting with Joe Biden. He wants the job as the UN Secretary General. Joe Biden goes and talks to the prime minister that's in charge of appointing him and lobbies for this guy. Apparently, though, he ended up not getting the job in the end.
Oh, that's very unfortunate for him.
That sucks for him. He's out one Porsche.
Wait,
Um,
Hunter didn't get the Porsche either?
Oh,
Oh,
no, Hunter
he's
got
out
the
one Porsche. Gotcha.
yeah.
Okay.
So like the only, I mean, not the only, but the most logical explanation for that is pay to play. Like
Okay.
to me, like I think that was pretty cut and dry. Like you give somebody money, a couple days later you get a dinner meeting, and then this guy's lobbying on your behalf.
Yeah, I
Um,
mean, if there's no counter narrative to that, then I guess, the only thing that I would be able to come to the conclusion of is that it's very likely that it was pay to play. If what I wouldn't understand is that if this is like that cut and dry example of play to play, why is it that like this particular story isn't harped on by the right wing media more so? Like,
It's still developing in a bit. I do hear it. That being said, there's still something missing. So again, you have your initial allegation, like Hunter Biden took this money. Why did he take this money? Why would they give it to him for no seemingly other purpose than to talk to his dad? So we have that question. That's good. And then we have the end result of Joe Biden doing things. What we're missing is the middle. We don't have that conversation that they had where Joe Biden says, I'll go and do these favors for you because you gave my son this money. Now, in the impeachment inquiry, they have 4 experts in there, and 2 of them are very familiar with the law and RICO and cases like that. They say the money does not need to go to Joe Biden. It just needs to go to one of his family members. And I think they have like 14 of his family members taking in money from foreign assets.
well, yeah,
So
because if it came out that Joe Biden was having these meetings so that his family can get money, that even that would still be corrupt.
yeah,
Like, the thing is so we've got an unnamed oligarch that gives Hunter Biden money for a Porsche, and then this person gets a meeting with Joe Biden. What you would need is the conversation between Joe and Hunter, not necessarily money going to Joe.
exactly. That'd be the smoking gun.
Like, and what the left, like somebody who was defending Biden would need is some sort of like reasonable explanation as to why Joe was going to have this meeting. Who this guy was would probably help with, the narrative of the truth, whatever the truth is, us knowing who he was, what his role was in the Kazakhstan government. Because what if it's the case that, like, this guy was somebody who you would expect to have a meeting with Joe Biden as vice president? So it is kind of odd that his name is left out. But I guess you said it's still developing. We'll have to just kind of see where this one goes.
And for full transparency's sake, it did come up at the hearings that this same guy gave Rudy Giuliani money for a different task.
Okay.
So, he might not be a partisan actor. The next one would be that Russian lady, and that's also covered in the article, 3.5 million. And then when this is after Russia had already moved into Crimea, but Obama hadn't done any responses yet. 3.5 million goes to Hunter. A dinner meeting happens, and suddenly her name is left off sanction lists.
Mm-hmm.
Now, they say in the hearings, Republicans use the term richest woman in Moscow, but there's so many like the qualifier of woman there leads me to believe that like maybe she's the 150th richest person in Moscow and not the biggest deal that they're making her out to be, and that's why she didn't show up on the sanctions list.
Yeah.
So I need more to think that's a big deal.
Yeah. Okay. And you said that's the same Daily Mail article?
Yep, it's
Okay.
in there as well. But yeah, so there is that. I mean, it just looks kind of shitty that Hunter's taking in this money. It's going to these shell companies, it's kind of getting folded over so no one can kind of see where it came from, then distributed to the family members. And then these people get meetings with Joe Biden, and somehow things just kind of turn out to their benefit.
Mm-hmm.
The Burisma
Well,
one,
except for
I've
that
heard,
first one, because he actually didn't get the position. Wait, was there evidence in this Daily Mail article that Joe Biden was arguing on his behalf? Or
not that I'm aware of. I think that was only in the hearing that they talked about that.
okay.
I think that's in my notes. That would be the impeachment inquiry hearing, by the way. The whistleblower hearing just dove into a couple of things, so I included it. But you probably won't have to look at that much, if at all.
Mm-hmm.
But they, just dove deeper into some shit. So that there was that woman, and again, I need to see, like, because $3.5 million is a lot of money, but if she only has like 50 million, and like, maybe she was lobbying for something else, maybe it was for a good cause, it could. I need that conversation too, for it to be a smoking gun, but it really does look bad. The third one is Burisma, and I've heard Rob and Pisco go back and forth on this like a million times. And Rob he goes off on some weird tangents, like he's trying to score political wins against Biden.
Mm-hmm.
It ruins his argument, I really feel like. But what we do have is some of the good points of the argument. We have emails from Hunter's computer where he gets the CFO of Burisma a dinner date at Hunter or Joe Biden's private residence, and you have the
Lazarski?
thank you. Lazarski, yeah. It's hard to say, and he ends up getting a thank you email from Hunter Biden. And then we also, I heard they played the tape in the hearings. The tape was Poroshenko, the former president before Poroshenko was
Uh-huh.
we have him on the phone with Joe Biden saying, "We fired Shokin at your behalf. We didn't have any investigations or even evidence that he was corrupt. But we fired him because you asked us to."
Mm-hmm.
And like those are just some pretty damning things that, like, I don't think Rob's done enough research to know. Don't repeat that, please. He's an angry guy.
Rob's a great guy.
He put me on mute and yelled at me for 15 minutes because I proved him
Oh, you know
wrong.
what? He put me on mute one time too, so never mind. I take that back. Fuck Rob.
I proved him wrong that the Democratic Party's main stance on abortion wasn't abortion up until the point of birth and
Yeah.
plus some. Yeah, he was being crazy. But yeah, but yeah, that phone call is really damning. They have him on the phone saying, like, "We only fired Shokin because you asked us to. We weren't looking into corruption by him." The UN released a letter saying that he was meeting all his check marks for corruption, and they endorsed the $20 billion loan or whatever it was, or the $1 billion loan.
Wait,
We have this
the UN said that Shokin wasn't corrupt?
the EU,
EU
yeah,
said that Shokin wasn't corrupt.
the EU endorsed him. Let me go find that.
So the talking point of this was also the policy of the EU is wrong. That the EU didn't want Shokin fired.
Yeah, the EU. This was after Biden had already demanded Shokin be fired. About 5 days later, the EU released their anti-corruption report, where they also approved of efforts being made in Ukraine and backed Ukraine getting the loan that the U.S. was holding up.
Okay,
It-
I don't think that this like so the counter to this point, the counter to the whole Burisma and Shokin point is that this was the policy of the U.S. outside of anything that Biden may have wanted, and this was also the policy of the EU. This is what both entities wanted, and I don't think that anything that you just told me counters that.
Well, about 2 months before Shokin was fired, the three different Obama intelligence agencies signed off on Ukraine getting the $1 billion loan. And I want to say that was the one that specifically mentioned Shokin as doing a good job with corruption in Ukraine. So that was 3 months before Joe Biden asked for him to be fired. And I really feel like if both the Obama government and the EU are looking at this guy's anti-corruption measures and saying he's hitting all the check marks and we like him, that and then you have the president on the phone saying that there was no actual proof of corruption into this guy. There was no investigations or evidence that we had that he was corrupt, but we fired him because you told us to. I think that is enough to seal the deal on Shokin wasn't as corrupt as people are making him out to be.
Okay, so your claim is that the idea that this was U.S. policy, that Biden was fulfilling U.S. policy, or maybe if he was, he somehow convinced the U.S. to change their policy on behalf of Hunter.
Yeah, I have no problem with the US policy. If we're going to give you foreign aid, military or fiscal, you need to meet certain requirements of the United States, especially in corruption, because corruption is the reason most of these fucking countries can't stand on their own 2 feet. So
Okay.
absolutely, if you're taking our money, we should be able to say that guy's corrupt and go.
hmm
The thing is, Joe Biden seemingly abused that to benefit his son.
Okay, so what am I searching for in this document to
Uh,
find that?
I have 3 citations in the document. If you type in EU in the
EU.
find, it'll take in the 1 of 5 will take you to all those
So
citations.
all of these links, the New York Post, the Daily Mail, and the New York Post.
Yep, yep.
Okay.
The top one is the phone call, and if you want to listen to it yourselves, Zolchevsky says we fired this guy because you told us to,
Mm-hmm.
and then on such down.
Okay.
So those,
Alrighty.
yeah, I'd say like I tried arguing with Pisco once, and he yells and he gets worked up, and when he gets angry, he starts doing the bad faith thing, and it's just I couldn't do it, but I tried, you know, elaborating on some of these points with him a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
And we talked about January 6th a lot too. But
Yeah.
so that was Burisma. Then there's 2 other countries. There's China and there's fuck, what was it? Oh man, Romania. China and Romania.
Uh-huh.
So China, Hunter Biden started a investment firm with a guy who was tied in with the Chinese government, and it was called CEFC. And they had that for a few years. It was had a very close ties with Chairman Xi. And we
Uh-huh.
have messages, Hunter Biden's WhatsApp saying that he's really close with Xi. He knows what Xi wants. And like there was a guy like not doing what he said. He's like, do what I say. I know how Chairman Xi likes things. Let me do my job essentially. I
Mm-hmm.
think it was a different, but no, I think it was the same one where he said the
My
person
dad's
sitting
sitting
next to
right
me,
next to me. Yeah.
yeah, will forever and I forever hold a grudge and shit like that. Um, so the CEFC in that, as soon as Joe Biden left office in 2017, like a week later, he was made partner at CEFC and started working in this Chinese investment firm that was closely tied in with the Chinese government.
Joe was?
Yes, Joe and Jill. Jill was
Okay.
also made partner.
I mean, that's not very surprising. Isn't that like common in American politics?
It is, yes, but that's usually when you're not planning on going back into office after. Like if he retired from
Mm-hmm.
politics and went into private lobbying, he'd be like, "Oh, it's kind of dirty, but I get it."
Yeah, sure, but like nobody really like. Did he plan to run? Did he run in 2016?
No, he didn't want to. He said so. Bo died too soon. He was on. I watched his announcement on the Tonight Show, or one of those shows, late night shows. He said his son died. He wasn't in the right mental state, and it's Hillary Clinton's turn, basically.
Yeah, he
But
probably had he probably didn't know if he wanted to go run for president at the
right.
time.
So CEFC was the source of a lot of bad messages from Hunter Biden. One of which they were asking him at the time. It wasn't not Bob Alinsky. What was the guy's name? He went on Tucker Carlson's show. He worked with them. He came out like a year and a half ago or 2 years ago about all this shit. But they were asking that guy to take over because there was a spotlight on Hunter, and he said, "Why would I bring up the keys to the family asset?" This is Nancy Mace, if you want to search for her,
Uh huh.
and
Okay. So he said keys to the family asset, as
it
in
is
like
public.
Hunter Biden is.
The keys to the family assets are the Biden name, and Bobulinski. His name is Tony Bobulinski. Um, the interview where Hunter Biden and James is using the Biden name to push their business. Oh, okay. So while Hunter was or Joe Biden was the VP, Hunter Biden and Jim Biden received $0 while working with CEFC, and because it was, you know what I mean, bad optics. Two Bidens working in a Chinese investment firm while their brother slash dad is in office. And as soon as Biden left office, Hunter Biden and James Biden were given seven-figure payments from CEFC. Basically, all that money they said they weren't taking was just stored up and given to them. So, I mean, I don't think that's like proof of fraud, but it's pretty shitty. Like,
I mean, do you know that that's what was going on? Do you know that that was the arrangement?
that's what Nancy Mace says. We can't see the SARS reports.
Uh
They're
huh.
confidential. This is what Mace is claiming is on the SARS reports. There's like 170 something SARS reports we're not allowed to look at.
And who is Nancy Mace?
Oh, fuck. I think South Carolina
So
representative?
she's a representative. Okay.
She was one of the ones that voted, what's his name, out of the speakership a few weeks back.
Okay.
What the fuck is his name right now? I forgot.
Cav.
Yeah, the guy before Mike Johnson.
Yeah, Cav. No, I keep wanting to go with Kavanaugh, but that's the Supreme Court dude.
Yeah, no, it's it's
Uh,
Kaepernick. You're close.
Kaepernick. Yeah. Oh gosh,
Golly
it's amazing how forgettable he was. He was like the Speaker of the House.
McCarthy, Kevin
McCarthy.
McCarthy.
Yeah, there you
Yeah,
go.
she was the surprise vote because she's not really like a Trump sycophant. She's
Uh
more
huh.
of like a status quo Republican, but apparently McCarthy pissed her off, so she jumped in there.
So, is there any
Um,
Democrats that said anything about that SARS report,
they
or are they just
when
ignoring it?
Marjorie Taylor Greene, I guess, jumped into some controversial stuff that wasn't supposed to be revealed. They objected to her. I think that was the only time I remember them bringing up the SARS reports, was
Uh,
saying that MGT was going too far. She did her own thing, and it wasn't terrible, but it's nothing I have to bring up here.
and
It's
what is the SARS report?
suspicious activity reports.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, they are issued by the IRS fraud division,
Uh
and they're
huh.
confidential due to sources and methods. They
Uh
don't want
huh.
people to know how they're getting that information.
Yeah, yeah, makes sense.
So we can't see them, but I guess they're being accurately depicted. Otherwise, Democrats get to object. So
Yeah.
that's the only, yeah. And I trust Raskin. Raskin's good at his job. You'll see if you actually like read through this or watch my video. I praise Raskin the whole time. He is leaps and bounds better than any other Democrat on those fucking.
Oh yeah,
Um,
I've heard him. Well, I mean, the only time that I ever heard Raskin speak is when like he's owning the conservatives, and it shows up on my YouTube feed. But
mm,
he seems to do a good job from what I've seen.
yeah. Well, CEFC. There was one other really shady thing they did. I'm not finding it in here, but Miss McLean jumps into Romania, and it's right in front of me. So I kind of want to skip to that real quick.
Okay,
Um, so if you
hold
want to
on.
MCCLAIN,
CLAIN.
yeah,
Okay, McLean.
yeah. Skipping past all that, she finally gets back to how Joe Biden was in charge of anti-corruption measures in Romania, and takes us back to May 2014, where Biden delivered an anti-corruption speech in Romania and talks about how Joe Biden met with the president of Romania in September in the White House. She speaks of a Russian man named Hapu in Romania.
I'm reading along. It's fine.
Okay, yeah, in Romania, who was under a criminal probe for bribery, and how the Biden family received payments from that specific oligarch, while Hunter was not reporting these financial transactions. Just a few weeks after a White House meeting between Joe Biden and the Romanian president, what's his name, hires Hunter Biden. The man paid Hunter Biden and his companies for political access. The money was given to Rob Walker LLC. So yeah, Rob Walker was one of the people collecting the payments and dispersing them up. Rob Walker, Devin Archer, and Hunter Biden were seemingly the three members of this scheme.
A few weeks after the White House meeting between Joe Biden and Romanian President Papavisu hires Joe Biden. Is under criminal probe for. So the claim here is that this Pavlovsky character, Pavlovsky, was paying Hunter, and he got a meeting with Joe Biden because of that.
Yeah. And
Okay.
then in March, Hunter was not registered as a foreign agent, meets with the U.S. ambassador to Romania, and $1 million flowed from the Biden's account to Blatant Enterprises, in which $3 million to total of $3 million. Flowed to the Biden accounts from Blatant Enterprises to total of $3 million, in which the Russian oligarch accounts to Robert Walker accounts. So they tracked $3 million from that Russian oligarch to the Biden's shell companies, and then $1 million of that got transferred to the Biden's personal accounts. The Biden, yeah, it was like $3 million he ended up paying for a meeting of some sort to be to have. I think the Romanian government was going after him for these charges, and he was trying to get them dropped. I don't know if it ever talks about if the charges were actually dropped or not.
Mm-hmm. November 15th. Not registered as a foreign agent. When you say not registered as a foreign agent, you mean in the country that he's doing business in?
If you're doing any sort of lobbying for a U.S. official on behalf of any foreign national, you have to be registered as a foreign agent, even if you're a United States citizen.
Which U.S. official was he lobbying?
He worked for a bunch of different companies that were lobbying firms. So his cover story essentially was he was a lobbyist, and he was just going to these politicians seemingly, hello, I'm a random person named Hunter Biden. Don't pay attention to my last name. I'd like to lobby on behalf of my client. So what was the Awaska PC was the name of his lobbying firm. And then there was one other thing about China as well. I don't fucking remember. But but yeah, I mean, it was a pretty interesting hearing. I watched it.
How long was the hearing?
6.5 hours.
Oh my goodness.
But like, there's breaks, and if you put it in ×2 speed, you could really bang it out in like 2.5.
Yeah, I can deal with 1.5. I can't deal with 2.
Yeah,
it's too fast for me. My brain isn't that speedy.
Well, they're all slow old people. Like, I couldn't do Ben Shapiro in like 1.5 even, but
yeah, true.
So it all depends. But yeah, like through my notes and shit, once you start to get to the bottom, you'll see a lot of people just start grandstanding. It's one sentence, like grandstanded and said all Democrats are evil. Skip, and like just on to the next person. Like,
okay, that's crazy. All right. Who have you talked to about this on the left besides me?
Not really anyone. I just made a video about it, and it comes up every now and then when I talk in Wick chats. But like never in this great of detail. We just kind of graze upon it really quickly. Yeah, for the most part. Not really many people. I would love to have a sit down with Destiny one of these days on this exact subject, because I've never heard him like go even close to in depth. There was one video where he sits down with Rob, and Rob's like giving him some good facts, and then he goes off on this fucking tangent about how like only left wingers can do this and blah blah blah. It's like, bro, Mitt Romney's son works on these same fucking boards. Like, it's both sides. Like, oh.
And the thing is that when you start talking, like when you start pointing things like that out to Rob, he changes it from Democrats versus Republicans to populist versus establishment.
Yeah, he's a very black and white. He needs a black and white, and the black needs to be evil, and he needs to hate them. It's I don't know. I'm not all about that. I just want our politicians to stop being scumbags.
Yeah. Yeah. Destiny. Talking to Destiny would definitely be interesting. Like a whole research stream from him would be interesting, I think.
Yeah, because he's pretty good at like asking questions, following up. What
Yeah.
about this? What about this? So, but yeah, no, I think that's the case, and I think like all we're missing is that conversation. We have the money going in for seemingly nothing, Hunter
Mm-hmm.
lobbying, and then we have his dad taking actions that benefits those people. We just don't have the conversation where they say, "Hey, I paid your son $3.5 million. Now I need you to do this for me."
Mm-hmm.
And that's a pretty big piece to be missing. But if it's left up to the court of public opinion, and I feel like if everyone had all the facts of this, it would probably leave Biden in a bad light. And there's more too, like just small things like Blue Star and Hunter patting themselves on the back when they got the charges dropped on the CEO of Burisma, saying
Yeah.
like we did it, like taking full credit for it and shit. Like that they did it, like that they conspired the events to happen for all that. I don't know. So it
Okay.
just looks pretty shitty. But yeah, that's all I got.
So I should probably start with just listening to the hearing.
I mean, yeah, I mean, if you want to, you can listen to my video of it. No, it's yeah, the
Wait,
hearing's
were
probably
you
the
listening
best
to the
part.
hearing in that video?
I
Or
went through the hearing once just watching it, and I went through it once pausing it to write the script.
uh-huh.
And then after editing the script, I went through it a third time with the video, and I'd like stop it at certain parts.
So the video that you're talking about has like the highlights that really help your points.
No, because like a lot of these things, I'm condensing their whole 5 minutes into just a paragraph. So like realistically, if you want that, you got to watch the whole hearing if you want. Because some of these people, they're lawyers and shit. They don't just come right out and say their point. They like set up their case, ask a question, set up their case a little more, ask a question, then boom, drop the nugget.
Yeah. Okay.
So,
All right.
but yeah. And then the last thing, real quick, the FB 1023, one of the conspiracy theory. I'm gonna stand up for Rob because I've been so mean to him.
All right.
This is one of the things.
FD 1023. FD as in Delta.
FB.
B. D. Yep, I see it. 1023.
So this is what they call one of the things that they call Rob a conspiracy theorist for, because he brings this up. Now, this was brought up in 2017. This came out. A reliable source said $5 million went to each Joe and Hunter Biden. This guy signed off on it. The FBI says they're a reliable source. So the person that looked into it was William Barr. William Barr opened up a quick investigation, said there was nothing there to investigate and move forward with, and then closed it. So everyone calling Rob a conspiracy theorist is saying that William Barr did an adequate investigation, basically saying that they trust William Barr's assessment.
Okay.
And I feel like if you put it that way to some of these people, the more partisan ones, they wouldn't trust William Barr on damn near anything else. So it's a little bit of hypocrisy from more partisan people. But anyway, I take William Barr at his word and then fact check him after. So
Well, yeah, like the people who wouldn't take William Barr's word on anything are going to be like people like me, who was a little bit sour to William Barr after he misrepresented the Durham report. And
yeah.
but like that was to Trump's benefit. If he's saying something that benefits Trump's political opponent, then it's probably more accurate than not, unless you're going to argue that he's like changed sides, quote unquote.
I didn't watch anyone's. I read the Durham report, made an hour-long video going through it.
Yeah, apparently William Barr said something like it exonerates Trump of all wrongdoing when the report itself, this is just what I've heard, I actually haven't read it, when the report itself says that we cannot exonerate Trump of any wrongdoing. We just don't have evidence to prove that he did do. Like, we don't have sufficient evidence to charge.
I'd say the Durham report probably, and the FBI has already admitted to it. They fired people, they got rid of multiple, and blah blah blah. But I'd say the Durham report probably makes the FBI look the worst.
Oh, hold on, isn't that the Durham report? Shit, I'm thinking of something different.
Mueller, you're thinking of
Mueller's report with Russia collusion. Yeah. Yeah, that's the one I'm thinking of. Durham report was the investigation into Russia Gate.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, the report concluded that there was no evidence to charge Trump with collusion, which would be the colloquial term for corruption or conspiracy with a foreign asset.
Mm-hmm.
There was no evidence to charge him for that. The thing that Barr was back and forth on was obstruction, I remember. And that's kind of where he said that, the report exonerates Trump from the first charge, so you can't charge him with the secondary charge if the first charge isn't there. So, which I don't know enough about the law to say either way.
Mueller spoke of a few words possible to. The facts. Trump has not been exonerated by Mueller at all. No, Mueller said. I mean, he said in a hearing that he wasn't exonerated. So I think.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
But I mean, like the natural state of being as an American is that you're innocent until you're proven guilty.
Yeah. But because they didn't find enough evidence to prove Hillary had intentionally mishandled classified documents, doesn't necessarily mean she didn't, intentionally mishandle.
That one was about intent.
Yeah.
They had 37 instances where she had highly classified, and I think it was like 40 more with like lower classifications. But they said her intent wasn't to store these improperly, so they didn't charge her with it.
That doesn't mean the intent wasn't there,
Yeah. Whereas, intent only factors in on some laws. Like, if you shoot somebody, intent isn't going to get you shoot them for the best of intentions. You still shot somebody unless it's self-defense, and you're still getting manslaughter. Like, intent just varies if you're getting manslaughter or murder 3 or 1 or whatever. So it only matters so much. But that's all. I think those are the most important things to lay down the case. There's a lot of fucked up shit in here. Like when they were looking into Hunter Biden, this woman named Leslie Wolf did a whole bunch of shady things. That goes back to the whistleblowing hearing more, and I think she needs to come in front of the House committees and have to answer some questions.
Okay. All right, I've got them highlighted. I had to copy and paste your script so that I can edit. I don't know if you allowed editing, but I didn't want to fuck with your original.
I have to record still more, so.
Yeah, so I got your sections that you just talked about highlighted, and I can look into them in my own time. It's probably gonna take a while because I don't do this for a living. This is just a hobby.
Oh, for sure, same. And then I also have to play at least 4 Dota games a day. So
how long does those take?
Like half an hour. And I'm engaged.
Oh, nice, nice.
Yeah, so I got 2 dogs. Well, my brother's dog is staying here with us and shit. So I haven't put out a video in 3 months, but I hired an editor, so the process is gonna be easier from now on. And yeah. But yeah, dude, I do these sit down and watch and learn sessions all the time. So if you ever want notes, just fucking ask. I'll send you over my whole fucking script if you want.
Okay. If you got time, I was gonna talk about razor wire with you.
All right. We talked about that on Thursday, I thought a little.
We did. I was super tired and not really feeling, and I was also unnecessarily mean because I was tired.
Yeah, there were a lot of dumb people in there.
Yeah, there was also that one guy. He took so long to talk, which would have been fine if he just stuck to one point. But I couldn't deal with the speed in which he was speaking for 5 different points. It was. It was too much for me, especially since I was trying to get to bed. I wanted to pop in because I love immigration discussions. but I was trying to get the bid. That was my goal. But yeah, razor wire. Here is my opinion on it, and if you just agree with this opinion, you don't have to agree with like my conclusion that it's cruel, because that's just like a moral, standing that I'm probably not going to be able to convince anyone on. But here is my opinion on what razor wire does. It is what the act of putting razor wire is, and what supporting that means. I think that when you are putting razor wire on the border, you are using the possibility that these migrants that would cross the border in between the ports of entries to get hurt and possibly death as a deterrent to keep them from crossing the border in between the ports of entry. Right?
Well, yeah.
Yeah. It was last night. It drove me crazy that I was just like, look, you support this. This is what razor wire is. This is what you're supporting.
Yeah.
And people were like, no. And they were trying to mental gymnastics their way out of supporting that position. And I was like, no, this is what razor wire does. It's all it does.
Yeah.
Is it hurts people that try to go through it. Like, it possibly kills them. Do you
It's intentional sharp. No, absolutely not. It's draconian.
Okay, fantastic. Well, then we just agree. Like, there's nothing to talk about there.
It's draconian. I'm not. You could build a wall. It might not be the most effective way to do border policy. You can do all sorts of deterrence that you want that's defensive. As soon as you become offensive, you're now the aggressor, and you're now the bad person, essentially.
Yeah.
So, I don't agree with anything like sharp. It's our job to keep them out if that's what the administration decides they want to do, anyways. And that's their job. You can use defensive measures. Like, even the Democrats used to say that, like, Trump's wall is draconian, but we still want border security. We can get drones, we can get all sorts of technology, we can get different patrols and blah, blah, blah. We can build structures in certain places. Even Biden's doing. Biden built, I think, like 100 foot of Trump's wall already, just in certain areas.
Yeah, I think didn't that have something to do with the money already being earmarked for the wall and him not being able to change that?
Yep. And like there's certain areas that do need, even Democrats would agree, even like maybe 10 years ago, that like do need some sort of structure there to stop people from flowing in. So um personally, I think that a lot of the asylum abuse and Biden's new little app that lets people apply for whatever their visa,
Mm-hmm.
their non-Congress certified visa online. I think these are because we have such a labor shortage right now, 8.3 million jobs. I think Biden wants these people to come in and work right now because that'll make his economy boom. And that's
Mm-hmm.
really hurting him in the polls. So I think that's kind of why he's turning a blind eye to all this immigration and the asylum abuse, because it'll help his economy.
Well, I don't think he is turning a blind eye. I think that I think that the situation at the border is just massive, and we don't have the personnel. And even if you, I believe that even if you give the money that Congress is trying to give for Border Patrol personnel, you're still not going to get the personnel to be able to deal with that. Because like he's the one that started the if you come across illegally, you're not eligible to claim asylum for 5 years. Like, that's a Biden policy. So I don't think he's okay with it, because that's also, I think that's probably hurting him in the polls more than the economy is at this point.
No, I mean, a lot of right wingers. If you look at like who cares about things, right wingers are really the only ones that care that much about the border. Some independents are talking about it, but it's really like a right wing issue. It gets their base all fired up. Not really a great general election issue.
I mean, I hope you're right. I don't know if I agree, but I do hope you're right.
But yeah, he only started that policy in February, which is good. Don't get me wrong, I like it. I like punishing people that break the rules. I'm a big rule follower myself, but I just don't think it's enough, because the asylum abuse lets you kind of go around that. So like, yeah, I think it's like 1.5 million people are here right now on asylum, and the backlog is 8 years to get them into trials, and that's after Trump already, like, I don't know, he put a couple billion into the asylum process, hired more judges, hired more, built more facilities, and we're running on those numbers and still backed up 7 years.
Yeah, I mean, the problem is that there's just more people in the world desperate enough to make that trip.
Yeah, even just economically desperate. Yeah, and we could use them right now too, which is the thing. Like if Biden said like we're going to open up and we're going to take in 3 million immigrants this year instead of the 1.3 or whatever we took in last year, and they're
Mm-hmm.
all going to be legal, and then we're going to do strong border security. I think people would like that. Like, hey, we have 8 million unfilled jobs. Let's take in 3 million immigrants and start
Mm-hmm.
fucking generating some economic revenue.
That would
People would
be
be like,
a
hell yeah.
Yeah, that would be a great policy. The conservatives would lose their fucking minds.
I don't think so, because Trump used to say shit like that all the time. And people say that like people are in the cult of Trump. The cult of Trump's idea of Trump is a myth compared to the actual man. Trump says, I love the vaccines. Operation Warp Speed was a success. I take complete credit for them. His supporters are like, vaccines will give you fucking autism and you're going to get myocarditis and you're going to die. Why would you put that into your body? You know, like, and there's a bunch of subjects where there's this big disconnect. And I really feel like, fuck, I'm high. What was I just talking about? What was I segueing into? Fuck.
You think that even Trump would have been okay with allowing migrants in legally for
No,
work
he said that.
purposes?
He said that. He said we need more immigrants now than ever, but they have to come in legally. He said that shit like a dozen times.
While running for president?
No, it was in like 2018, 2019.
Oh, while after being president.
Yeah, it was because it was like a humble brag about his economy being so good that we're running out of workers.
Mm-hmm.
We hit full employment. We've ran out of workers. We're going to need to bring in more immigrants. We just need them to come in legally. And so,
Yeah,
like,
but wait, so did he not understand that we didn't have a legal path for immigrants to just come in here and work?
no, he said he wanted to bring in more. He wanted to bring in more than just the 1.3. But he never actually did it. What he actually did was the opposite. When he restructured immigration to be less family-based and more merit-based, he cut the number of legal immigrants in half, tried to cut the number of legal immigrants in half that we took a year. And it's like, bro, like you're talking about more immigrants than ever, and then your policy does the exact opposite. But it never materialized into real policy. So maybe it was just like an attempt at something. But yeah, we never actually got to see what it would be.
Yeah, no, I mean, I obviously think that would be a great idea. I would let in more than your number probably, but I would be okay with, starting slow, see what it does to the economy, and then ramping it up in the future.
And you could make the argument to conservatives too. Trump and Romney both won like 38% of conservatives in the first year that they ran. And then in 2020, Trump's number of Hispanics grew to like 42%. So
Right. I'm pretty black-pilled on that. And I'm black-pilled due to like anecdotal evidence, due to my experiences debating with conservatives. But every single time I have a immigration conversation with conservatives in my community and in Drone Tech's community, it starts out, well, it's not migrants that we don't want around. It's illegals that we don't want coming in. And then when I post the idea of, well, we can just, allow more legal migration for whatever reason, as long as they're able to, pass a background check, find a job, and all that stuff. And then it goes to, well, we don't have enough work for them, or they're going to be on welfare or whatever, blah, 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 blah. And it just seems like there's whatever excuse, it doesn't matter which, it doesn't matter how many times I tear it down. Well, actually, they're here to work. They're not here for welfare. Well, actually, they're not. They don't commit crimes any higher than the American people do. It's actually lower for legal migrants. Well, actually, it doesn't matter how many times I actually them. There seems to always be a reason why they don't want to do that, and then it just goes back to, well, the culture's different, which
it's not though. Like if you look at a lot of Hispanics from South America, they're
much more
religious.
conservative. Yep.
Yeah.
So my theory is that they just don't want brown people in here, and I know that that's a LOL, conservatives are racist trope, but like I don't know what else it could be.
I got him to kind of agree to well, you had left by that point. I told everybody my idea for immigration should be based on an algorithmic equation of how much or how many unfilled jobs we have. So after 2 million cutoff, after 2 million unfilled jobs, one third of those jobs should be how many migrants we take in that year.
Mm-hmm.
And so we have 8 million, we take in whatever 275 million
Yeah,
migrants.
I was here for that. I didn't hear any of the conservatives agree with that. Me and
They didn't, yeah,
Sanso
but
agreed.
they didn't push back at all on it. What's his name? Was it Riddle? Yeah, Riddle said it wasn't a bad idea.
Okay, well,
Yeah.
maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm just focusing on the wrong shit. That's completely possible.
I think that they're more worried about themselves, which is what you do in politics. You vote for who's going to benefit you. I think they're more worried about like when the jobs run out, and now we got all these fucking people here, or they're worried about welfare queens. There was a study that like 50 something percent of immigrants in the country were on some sort of welfare program
Hmm.
to get like food stamps or whatever. So if you do get people from the wrong countries that aren't willing to work to that level, that being said, like with the family program, what if a lot of these migrants are like what if my fiance wants to bring her parents over? They're not going to work when they come here. They're going to be here, come here to retire. So they could be that statistic, you know? Like I don't. It's
Yeah. Well,
so
50% are on welfare. Does that mean that 50% isn't working? Because it's like there's a
no.
large number of people who are working who are also on welfare.
No, it doesn't. It doesn't mean they're not working. And it's really a lot of first generations. You see a lot of first generations need government help. By 3 generations, legal migrants are a net positive to GDP, and by 4 generations, illegal migrants are a net positive to GDP. Only
Hmm.
that extra generation is there because they have to have a child, and if that child's born in the United States and subject to the jurisdiction thereof, then they're a US citizen, giving the parents kind of like a free pass to stay.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, it takes an extra generation for illegals, but 4 generations in there, and that positive to the economy.
Yeah.
So, I mean, the only downside is if you illegals, you're going to get bad people sneaking in with them, and it's going to cause a black market, like with the coyotes raping like 80% of the women that make that trip up and fucking killing
Well,
people and funding the cartels.
Well, I think that a information campaign would be really like a Southern American information campaign. Hey, we are now accepting 2.5 million, you said?
Yeah.
2.5 million people who want to come here and work. If you apply at your local embassy, you could be, we will come and pick you up if we have to. That would like end a lot of that.
Mhm. And if you look at some of the statistics, not second generation illegal, first generation legal, open businesses almost 2 times the rate of US born citizens.
Hmm.
So a lot of those people coming over are going to start opening up their own businesses and creating more jobs that need to
Hmm.
be filled. And they're going to want to fill with their people, like their community, their family members, etc. So it's going to just create more job openings, more opportunities. And that's where you could pull in my other plan, which is a right wing version of affordable housing,
Uh-huh.
and you could build up small cities, not in the way that China did it, where they just built the housing and said, "There's a bunch of houses, go fuck yourselves," but actually put the jobs in those areas, give people tax incentives, go to this small town that we're building all this housing at, and provide a good job for people to go work at, and it all comes together perfectly. You're building up small towns and not packing everybody into big cities.
Yeah, yeah, that's like one of the things that drives me crazy about like Abbott's initiatives, where he's sending people to these like New York and places like that, is that he's sending people to already overpopulated cities. Why? What good are you doing besides scoring political points for yourself?
They can only go where or they can only send them where the migrant says they want to go. They legally can't like coerce them. Hey, you want to go to New York? You want to go to New
Hmm.
York? They literally have to listen to. So this is where the migrants are picking to go because, like, you think America, you think Los Angeles, New York City. Greg Abbott's only responsible for about 1/10 of the migrants in New York City.
Well,
So
I understand that. I think that there needs to be a federal initiative to relocate migrants in places that can actually handle the migrants. Like that needs to be on the federal level. I'm not sure why that's not happening.
oh yeah, I got an hour long video about my right wing housing policy where like People get 1% loans, young people specifically, and the idea is you move to this new build-up town. We're gonna bring in 40% conservatives, 40% Democrats, different racial demographics, make it like a multi-competitive district as well, so that you don't have one side of the aisle ruling, and get the jobs there with tax incentives as well. And you could build literal cities out of nothing if you did it right, and it's been done in the past. Again,
Hmm.
China does it. They build the housing and then they don't build any of the rest. Um, and it's caused these like ghost towns where people like invest. It's like all investment pyramid schemes. Kind of why their economy is collapsing right now, but whole different subject. That all being said, like you could do this. It's possible, and it would benefit the right wing. They could be the ones that saying, "Hey, they've been talking about affordable housing for 30 years. Here's how we're actually going to get it done." But I can't get a single right winger to even listen to the video.
Wow.
So, yeah, they just don't care.
Yeah.
Um,
Do you think that the right has like given up on policy?
no, no, they a lot of that's a lot of their worldview in government is they don't want federal policy to solve things. They want their government localized. They want their federalism to be from the ground up, not from the top down. So they're against federal policy, against federal power. They kind of want to dismantle that system and let the states do their thing.
Uh,
So I don't, on a state level, absolutely not. They're busy. They're fucking busy on the state level. I Brian Kemp has a huge list of accomplishments on the state level, but you never hear about him on the national stage.
yeah. What is his accomplishments?
Well, for conservatives, he passed a pretty down the line moderate abortion bill. He also, I want to say it's 14 weeks, whereas like Europe's like 15, 16. So it's
Hmm.
pretty in line with like the general middle.
Yeah.
He passed constitutional carry, which is a big one for the conservatives down here. You can carry concealed without a permit as long
Uh.
as you're not a felon or violent. When tax cuts, he did. What the fuck was he got some big company? He did a tax cut for them to come in and start doing tech here because kids in Georgia. This wasn't Kemp that did this specific thing, but kids in Georgia got credit for a foreign language if they learn a computer language. So we have a booming tech sector building up in Georgia now because of the
Uh.
investment into these companies and because college or high school graduates already come out knowing Java and Python and C sharp. So it's kind of working out really nice in that degree as well.
Okay.
Um, yeah, we're one of the least unemployed states in the country in terms of labor percentage, participation percentage. But it might
Uh.
also be because we're one of the fattest states. People don't live as long. So
Uh.
it might
What?
be. I don't know.
What do you think that says about the Conservative Party that somebody what's his face that just quit and bowed down to Trump? Uh, the guy that wore high heels.
Oh, DeSantis.
DeSantis was like the face, like the person,
As
and
soon
yeah,
as
go
soon
ahead.
as he did that, all the people hating on him on Twitter just said, "Oh, he's back, one of us again." Like that's you had. It's the Trump party right now. If you want a future in politics, you gotta. I don't know what's Nikki Haley gonna do after this because I don't think she. Well, maybe South Carolina likes her enough to keep her there. I think Ron DeSantis probably like his state. He would have lost his state if he stayed in the primary. His state likes Trump more than they like him. He
Yeah,
has to bend the knee.
I think Nikki Haley can position herself really well to be a power broker in the conservative party after the Trump fever breaks. If the Trump fever breaks.
I don't see her. I see her going to Lockheed and Martin, and we don't hear about her again
I mean, that's also like completely
after this.
plausible.
After this primary, it seems like everyone that goes up against Trump just gets shit on by the general party. Liz Cheney lost her primary by like 20 points to somebody no one ever heard of, and it
Yeah.
just I don't know anyone that goes up against Trump right now. When the Republican Party shrunk when Trump got elected, they lost about like 25% of their members, and they only gained about half of them back, and they were more Trumpians and less Republicans. So the
Yeah.
party shifted in a Trumpian direction, but it's smaller as a result. And a lot of independents shifted more to the right as a result as well.
Independents have shifted more to the right.
Slightly. If you look at just like you see it in some polls, the like independents, the general view of independence more lines up slightly to the right than the left in a lot of things. If you look at
Because some of them became more Trumpian.
no, because Trump took over the party, so a lot of conservatives, like real conservatives, left the party.
Oh, okay, gotcha. That makes sense.
Yeah, like neocons started leaving the party in droves. And then like Bill Kristol. Bill Kristol's like a neocon Republican. He's like the establishment Republican through and through. He's not part of the party anymore. He's an independent.
Okay.
So, like there's a lot of people like that left the party. So,
I remember in 2000 when Trump was running. So I was at a little restaurant in Rappahannock County, Virginia. It's a small town, more cows than people. It's a restaurant that I used to work at. I was talking to the current host there, who I didn't even like know as a person. I knew her sister because her sister used to work there. It was one of those towns, you work at this place, you're gonna know everyone because everyone's worked at that place at some point in their lives. And I was talking to her sister, and we were talking about Trump, and she was a Trump supporter, small town, of course. And I was like, I think that Trump is going to destroy the Republican Party. And I am so mad that I don't have any public record of me saying that, because if he does actually lose this election and it causes the Republicans to just keep losing the way they have been, that would be the most I would be able to get sponsorships based off of. He predicted the Republicans' downfall in 2015.
I don't see it. I think he's gonna either way. He's done running after this election, win or lose, and he's going away. The dude's gonna die in a few years, and I feel like net benefit once Trump's out of the picture, the Republican Party is going to be better off because they brought in a lot of non-voters
Mhm.
to the issues, and like Trump just like Obama expanded the coalition of his party pretty hard. Um, and once all those people that hate Trump come home, because they eventually will, they're gonna swing back to a more neocon or more establishment, generic Republican eventually. And when they do, all those Trump people, maybe they'll be disgruntled, but they're more likely to vote than they would have in the past. I think he did a net positive to the party.
Okay.
We'll see. I don't know. I'm just guessing.
Yeah.
But I mean, there's been some pretty nasty divides. Um, More Hillary Clinton supporters didn't vote for Obama
Mhm.
when he won the presidency or whatever the candidacy in 2018, 2008, and almost any presidential candidate's voters bailed on the person that actually won.
That's
It was
crazy.
yeah, and no one even talks about that divide because she became a Secretary of State. But there's some vicious shit that goes on in the primaries, but everyone gets over it when it's done.
Bernie supporters talked about the divide a
Yeah,
lot.
oh, they still do, but they still vote Joe Biden. I
Um,
love that exit polling. All those progressive, super hyper, so far to the left, they think Joe Biden's a right winger.
mhm.
Those people still, when you look at the exit polling, they secretly went to the polls and voted for Joe Biden, like they said they wouldn't.
I mean, good. I mean,
It's just, it's just funny. They're all talk on Twitter.
I'm definitely pro that. Did you go to college?
Yeah, for programming.
Did you have student loans?
No, Pell Grant. I was poor.
You went. So was it 4 years? Did you go 4 years on Pell Grant?
No, 2.
Oh, okay. You were able to get a degree in programming after 2?
Mhm.
Oh, okay.
Yep. Yeah, I went to a trade school,
Gotcha.
so they just get you right in there.
Based.
I mean, I took other things. I took accounting and poli sci and humanities and shit. I tried to expand my knowledge as best I could while I was
Yeah.
there. But
Okay.
Yeah, no, I zoomed through that shit.
I was going to ask you if you knew about the SAVE program when it comes to student loans. It's just like one of Biden's accomplishments that I always tout because it saves me so much money every month.
Is that the one where you only have to make $500 payments and it doesn't raise your interest rate over a long period of time?
No, I make $40 payments, and I think it raises my interest rate, but after 25 years, it just all gets forgiven.
Yep. I know exactly what you're talking about.
And,
Which will help out people, but most people pay off, like 80% of people pay off their student loans before that point. So
yeah, and that's fine. I think the big thing was that he changed it from 10% of your discretionary income to 5%, which is huge. It just means you get to keep more of your money, and if you just so happen to make enough to where that alone pays off your loan, then good for you. You're making bank. But if you don't, then you don't have to worry about it after 25 years.
yeah, which is all right. Yeah, I don't hate that.
I mean, honestly, of course, I'm personally affected by it, so I think it's huge, and I can't my effective payment is half of what it would be, and I could make the payment if I had to, but holy crap, my standard of living wouldn't be like as good as it is now, and it's not really. I mean, it's pretty solidly lower middle class, so it's not that bad. I mean, I'm on a computer with internet right now.
I don't think there should be any interest on student loans besides year-to-year inflation.
Yeah,
That's that's so wild. Like putting interest on student loans and like taxing Medicaid and Medicare, taxing government money. Government gives you money and then taxes it back. It's fucking wild to me. Like, just give them less money. Like,
yeah,
it's fucking wild. But yeah, no, there's some stupid shit.
yeah. I agree.
But that's all I got. I gotta go eat something. It's 9:00.
All right. Have a good night. Thanks for the chat. It was fun.
If you need anything like that, like if I got a script or information, I'll throw it your way. I don't give a fuck.
Okay. Yeah, I'll hit you up.
Alrighty, take her easy.
All right, later. All right, peoples. You got to watch me play Minecraft and talk to Tyler. Lucky you. Crazy. Where's the baby villager at? Oh, he grew up. He grew up with no job. What should I make him be? All right. I'm going to lay down, go to bed. Y'all have a good night, and thanks for tuning in.